What's up, big ballers, big shot callers? Big Ken here. Welcome from the Rim Sports Talk Show. Joined by a bunch of friends today: Monty, Dwayne, Brandon, Robin. How you guys doing?
What's going on? What's going on?
Doing good, doing good.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'm glad
salute
you
from the
Good.
DFW. We
Yeah,
here.
man, we got people. We got Dwayne from DFW, Dallas Fort Worth area, and the rest of us are here in great
Stop.
Washington State, Western Washington. So what we're gonna talk about today is the NFL Draft, and man, it set a bunch of records. Over 700,000 people in attendance in Detroit. 6 quarterbacks taken on the first 12 picks. 14 offensive players taken in a row. 23 out of 32 were offensive players. Caleb Williams went number one like we thought he would. And eight offensive tackles were taken in the first round, which was another record. And 7 wide receivers were taken in the first round. So records all over the place.
Wow.
And the first 3 picks were quarterbacks. We knew kind of Caleb Williams would go number one, like they were talking about all year long. But I didn't think 3 would go in a row. I knew 3 would go fast, but not 3 to start the draft off. But let's talk about some quarterbacks. What do you guys think about Penix going number 8 to Atlanta? Monty, what do you think about that? That was kind of surprising. I thought that was one of the surprises of the first round. What do you think?
It was a surprise, Ken. I figured he would go to a team where he would start right away, but he's going to be holding a clipboard behind KIrk Cousins unless something happens. But I'm okay with the pick because Atlanta kind of made the mistake when Matt Ryan left of not finding his successor. They had Marcus Mariota, who I don't think he was the guy. So I figured they would get this guy early, and he's their future. So a lot of people were upset with the pick. Thought it was a reach a little bit, but I see why they did it. It was a reach, but I understand why. I mean, he would have been gone the first round anyway. So I'm okay with the pick.
Yeah, you got any comments on that, Brandon? What do you think about that? Were you surprised or?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised. I don't think it was a reach as far as talent goes. I think it was a reach as far as where they invested their financial assets in the offseason in the KIrk Cousins contract for 4 years. Now, one thing about that contract is it's only a $10 million cap hit in 2026. So if he's hurt, he's not playing well, and they want to go with Penix, they have an easy out in year 3 of that contract. I don't really blame them too much. I like the Green Bay Packers theory of you have your quarterback, but then you draft your guy to replace him, and Penix wasn't going to be there past Oakland, in my opinion, or Las Vegas, in my opinion. So I'm actually
They still would have taken a tight end.
Yeah, they got Michael Mayer, but they got their second tight end with Brock Bowers. I'll go into that later. I'm pretty disappointed that he
I
fell
know
that
you got
far.
thoughts on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually okay with the pick. It's a bit of a head scratcher and why they gave Cousins so much money when their plan was to draft a quarterback to begin with. So, but they still got their guy, and if that's where they value him, and if that's the way that they want to prioritize the quarterback position, then I don't think it's such a bad decision.
Yeah. You got comments on that, Robin? What do you think about that? You anything on that?
I think my biggest thing is that I'm in Seattle, so I'm a UW fan. So I really liked watching Penix. I was really I was a little worried about him in his draft. Was the value of him in the draft because of his he kind of choked at the end with his in the big games. Like can he pull it out in the big games? Like he made some amazing plays and he did amazing stuff in the regular season, but during the playoffs he especially that last championship game or whatever bowl game it was, so I was worried about that, but I have a good friend who's an Atlanta fan, so I really like him going to Atlanta. I like the idea of him not having to go in and be the guy because he has time to learn the system. KIrk Cousins is such a he's kind of a journeyman type of a player. So he's I think that he's a good person to learn from.
Yeah.
And I also think that he is, I could be wrong, but he doesn't have a huge ego. So I don't think that he like I feel like that he's a guy who maybe, and I don't know this for sure, but from what I've seen, I feel like he's a guy who can take that role on Kirk Cousins and just be the leader to pull up this guy who's going to be his successor, obviously, at some point, whether it's from injury or whatever. So I think that I thought it was a good move, but it was a little bit of a head scratcher just because of the Kirk Cousins deal that they made.
Right. You got anything on this, Dwayne?
Personally, I really don't see what the problem is. I really don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah.
If Atlanta is really looking forward to move to the future, then they need to get a quarterback of the future if that's what they feel that they got in Penix. So why not draft him? I really don't know what's scratching Kirk Cousins' head about, because he's the one that got paid. So at the end of the day is that, when Kurt is so polished, and that's what Atlanta needs. They didn't have that in Mariota, and they didn't have that with the other quarterback that they drafted last year that they thought would come in and kind of wreck some shop, but it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. So Atlanta is kind of like, look, we got some good pieces. We got a running back. We got a receiver. We got a tight end. We're in win now mode. Let's try to make some noise while everybody in the NFC South is kind of depleted at this point.
Oh yeah, their division.
So right now, why not? Yeah. So you're going to pay Kurt all those millions. Well, why wouldn't you pay him all that? Because he would have commanded that much money. So if you're going to bring in a quarterback, and Kirk Cousins has more than enough that he can handle that and come in and do something for at least the next 3 years. But the thing is, about Kurt, you got to deal with his injuries too. So at the end of the day, so if you're going to bring in a quarterback, at least have a good backup quarterback, or at least a decent backup quarterback. And like you alluded to, that he can learn under Kurt. So I really don't see what the problem is. I didn't see what Aaron Rodgers thought it was a problem in bringing Jordan Love in at the point.
Yeah, they both acted the same way. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Kurt, Aaron, he still went on to win MVPs. You know what I'm saying? And while he was still with Green Bay, with Love still in the background, and and now that he moved on to bigger, better things, he passed on the crown to Love, and now look what Love is doing. I mean, he's about to be the quarterback of the future. With him and old boy from Houston going at it, I think that's going to be a real quarterback battle. So I really don't have a problem with that pick, not one bit. It works out for everybody. Kurt got paid; he's going to be their quarterback. And then Penix gets to learn under a great system, a great quarterback, and hopefully everything transitions well, which hopefully is Atlanta's idea.
I agree with you, Dwayne. I agree with all of you. I don't think it's a big deal either. I think people were just surprised. I do think people were just thinking he was going to go to a team and kind of like take over right away kind of deal. And I think what this shocked people was because Kirk Cousins did get the $100 million, whatever, for 4 years, whatever that deal was. So I think it's what kind of threw people off a little bit. But I agree. It's good to learn under a veteran. I don't think Kirk Cousins has as big of an ego as Aaron Rodgers does, but he did make some comments here and there. But I think at the end of the day, he accepted the fact that, Penix is there. And I think Kirk Cousins is a good guy. I watched, the NFL quarterback on Netflix. I like him. He seems to be a good man.
He's a professional.
I think he was
he knows how to deal with it.
He knows how to deal with it. I just think he was surprised because I think they said they didn't tell him that they were going to pick a quarterback, and that kind of threw him off because I think if he knew that they're going to do that, then of course he wouldn't have said anything. But they didn't communicate with him saying like, "Hey, we're going to get a quarterback in the first round for your, replacement." He was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" But I don't think it's anything like Aaron Rodgers though. To me, Aaron Rodgers' ego is way bigger than Kirk Cousins is. That's just my opinion.
That's
I like
how
Aaron
the draft
Rodgers.
goes.
Yeah, he got an ego.
Yes, that's how the draft goes sometimes. When somebody's close to your lap and you feel like you got you pull the trigger now, then you go get it. So
right.
I just want to add while we're on the subject of Atlanta, I think their decision to trade up for Rook or Rohoro over Jerzon Newton still on the board is more questionable than taking, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the draft.
They couldn't say his name during the draft either. I think they said Aurora like 3 times. I mean,
yes,
they couldn't pronounce his name.
they traded up for him, and probably the second best defensive tackle, Jerzon Newton, was still on the board, who got selected after him.
Yeah.
For a project tackle and tweener, I guess. I don't know. That was more questionable to me.
Here's the thing I'm questioning. You guys may not agree with me. This isn't about Atlanta, but this is about quarterbacks. Since we're on quarterbacks in their first round, everyone knows, at least most people know, I'm a Michigan guy. But I'm more, put this way, I'm more shocked that JJ Mccarthy more likely is going to start right away compared to Michael Penix. I don't think, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I'm a Michigan guy, but I don't think JJ McCarthy is ready to start. But we'll find out here soon in the fall in September. I still know about JJ. One thing I will say that's good about him is he doesn't get rattled. He's very poised. He does all this yoga stuff, and he does, like, he has this like ritual he does for the game, because in high school, I guess he was very anxious and he would get very anxious all the time. So he like learned how to deal with it, and he started doing like all this, mind exercises, kind of like KIrk Cousins, like very cerebral, like KIrk Cousins. And yeah, so I like JJ McCarthy's preparation, but I question him more than Penix. Do you guys got any comments on that, anybody? Because I don't know. I think Penix is more ready than McCarthy. That's what I'm thinking. So, you guys got any thoughts on that?
Well, who's ever ready, brother? Who's ever ready?
No one's completely ready, but
for every QB, is always trial by fire.
Yeah,
as long as teams, personnel keep their expectations at a medium. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that they're dealing with rookie who's going to deal with rookie mistakes and go and maybe show some progression towards the end, they'll know if they got their quarterback of the future. But even with Caleb Williams, I mean, that's hit or miss. He showed what he can do on the college level, but it's so different when you get to the NFL.
Right.
The game is so much faster. So everybody has to have an adjustment year, an adjustment period. So what do the fans say when those quarterbacks don't work out? Oh, we done blew that one, gave up a such and such to get this, this crap, you know what I'm saying? So it's really, you gotta know what the expectations are, really, you know what I'm saying? So
bringing up Caleb Williams, I love the Caleb Williams Odunze thing. Odunze going number 9, I thought that was a good deal. Chicago had a really good freaking draft, man. I was like, they got Odunze. I love Odunze. Like Robin said, we're in Seattle, and I know Odunze is a freaking beast, man. Like we know him well up here. He's a very good, and he's a very good person. I think he's a better person than player. He's a very good guy. I always kind of personally root for him because he's got a really good attitude. But there is more pressure on Caleb Williams being number 1 than there is on all the rest of these quarterbacks. We know this. So, and Chicago's been kind of like stinking it up for like, it seems like forever. So,
they're still the Bears.
They are the Bears, but
I feel like they're taking a lot of pressure off Caleb Williams for surrounding him with so much talent.
That's true.
For sure. That's helpful. Yeah.
Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and they got DeAndre Swift in free agency.
Yeah, you're right. They have a great team. If they stay healthy, man, they're looking exciting. But like kind of like what Dwayne said, we don't know until these guys all step on the field together. But their team on paper looks really freaking good right now.
Well, they're going to have to put that talent around them because that whole division stuff. I mean, we already know about Detroit. We got Jordan Love and Green Bay. That whole division, you can argue that might be the toughest division. You can argue that might be, they might have the best quarterbacks in the whole division might have the best QBs. You can argue that.
Yeah.
So that's I think Chicago did well. I mean, drafted.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's an off the wall question since we're still on quarterback. This is the first talk of the show. Out of the 6 quarterbacks chosen in the first round, which one do you think is? Put you guys on the spot here. Answer if you got a comment. Which one do you think is the least ready out of these 6? Which one do you think is the least ready? Like one that might be a bust. I won't say a bust. You can't be a bust in your first year, but say 5 years down the road, he's not doing absolutely anything. Who do you think it might be? You got any comment? You guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah. JJ McCarthy.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think he's good. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. He's won a lot of games. He won a national championship. Good college quarterback, but how many good college quarterbacks just don't make the NFL? And I don't see a lot of arm talent. I don't see a lot of difficulty throwing. I see an incredible Michigan defense with Blake Corum running the show on offense, and I feel like he'd piggyback off that to be the 10th pick. But we'll see. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's good. I don't think he's a good NFL quarterback. I feel like he was a big reach.
Do you guys got anything to add?
I agree.
Maybe the toss-up between the worst out of the 6, to me, might be between McCarthy and Bo Nix. But I kind of agree with Brandon. But out of the 6, he might be the worst. But I think they'll all do well. I think all 6 will do well.
I hope all do well.
I think I'll tell you who I think is probably going to shock some people is Drake Maye on how good he is. I was going to bring up next. I'm glad you brought him up. I'm rooting for Drake Maye. I really am. I think he's going to a good team where he can get some good game time, some good playing time.
Mm-hmm. New England, right?
So many people were down on him on the draft. I want him to show up and show out. I really think this dude is about to prove some people wrong.
He's definitely the biggest underdog. He's a big underdog.
And he really, and believe it or not, I really think he's so NFL ready. I really think he's NFL ready, in my opinion. But I would like to see Drake Maye do some things in New England. So I think he's going to with a great quarterback coach there, and I think he'll have a time to shine. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody's talking about the Caleb Williams and everybody else, but overlooking Drake Maye. I think he's going to a right situation.
Kind of a sleeper.
Yep.
I think Bo Nix, again, my husband is a Ducks fan, so I've watched a lot of Bo Nix. I think that he had a really good team around him. So I think that there's part of me, and this is a very uneducated comment, but I do think that he's slightly underrated because he was with the Ducks and the way that their scheme was and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I do think he has potential to be the best quarterback on the roster that he was drafted to, because they are struggling, and Sean Payton seems to like him, and Denver seems, from what I've seen with the whole thing that happened with Russell Wilson, because
he's the OG.
I feel like
Sean Payton's throwing some gangster stuff out there. The way he trusts Russell Wilson.
Right.
Well, and it seemed like he was not a big, towards the end, especially Sean Payton and Russell Wilson just weren't getting along. So I feel like if Bo Nix is his pick, I think that he will. I mean, look at what he did with Drew out in New Orleans. So I think
not Drew Bledsoe. Drew Brees. Yeah, Drew Brees. Yeah.
Drew Brees. I couldn't think of his name. I just had it in my. But anyways, but I think that
sure. Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think it sets up well for him and Sean Payton to work together. Sean Payton obviously needed somebody that he could work with, but Bo Nix is a little flashy. He's got a little bit of that swag that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that's going to go really in the locker room once it gets down to it. We'll see.
Him and Penix are the oldest quarterbacks. It seems like they've been in college forever because this 6 or 7
years. They both have they both had 6 years.
Starts in college. It's ridiculous. I'm like 60.
Yeah, 48 there's a lot. Yeah. It was a lot.
No, what I got with Bo Nix before we go on to another subject is he got off to a really good start his freshman year at Auburn, kind of came on the scene, was really good. Then he kind of died off his sophomore, junior year. Then he picked it back up again at Oregon. When he came out to Oregon last year, he did really well, or the year before that, but he did really good last year. And both games I saw him play against UW, he played lights out. It wasn't on him really. Their defense couldn't hold UW's offense. It was basically a game whoever has the ball last is going to win because they just kept on scoring. I mean, those were good games.
Yeah, those were exciting games.
Yeah, the Pac-12 championship game and that regular season game in the middle of the year was pretty good. Bo Nix did not play bad, so it's not like he laid an egg. He played pretty darn good. It would have been different if he would have threw a bunch of interceptions and didn't play well, but both quarterbacks played really well in those games. So, but yeah, I'm not a Sean Payton fan at all. But I do hope Bo Nix.
I'm not anymore.
Well, I never really was. I'm not against him, but he's always kind of interesting. I don't like him because the whole thing with New Orleans and the defense, where he was trying to like pay players to hurt people or something.
Yeah.
There's that crazy. Too. But he did do his time for the crime, so I mean, I can't penalize him for the rest of his life. But he got suspended for like a year or something. So, but he has a big ego. I don't know about him. I'm kind of 50-50 on him, but obviously I don't know him personally. But I've never really been big on him long before he got to Denver. I'm always kind of like 50-50 on that dude. And plus, I think coach. I think Drew Brees made him look good. So I'm like, I don't know.
That could be. I feel like I'm not like, I was ready for Russell Wilson to leave Seattle when he left Seattle. I'm not one who's bitter about him going to New Orleans or to Denver or anything like that.
His time was done because he was kind of starting going the wrong direction. He needed to change the scenery.
He needed a change of scenery. Seattle needed a change of scenery. Pete needed a change. Like everything needed to change at that time when Russell left. So I was fine with him leaving. I thought he was going to do better in Denver. I just don't like the way that Sean Payton treated him. I feel like maybe Russell Wilson got too big for his britches and a little too Hollywood. But at the same time, I didn't like how Sean Payton sort of made him look on the sidelines, like dressing him. I don't know. There was just a lot of stuff that I'm like, how can you not succeed with Russell Wilson and then decide to sit him on the bench? I don't know. I just feel like that there's a little bit more there. There's just too much.
The biggest thing I didn't like about Sean Payton had nothing to do with, Russell Wilson was one thing, but it was long before that. I think me and Monster talked about like in week 3 or 4 when he played the New York Jets, he was talking a lot of trash about that coach. I don't like that either. The New York Jets won that game, so I thought Sean Payton got exactly what he deserved. So ever since then, like I was already 50-50 on him, but then when he was talking trash about a coach that just got fired, and that was like, dude, like. That could have been you, bro. So that like
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I was watching.
He did that.
He was blaming Nathaniel Hackett for the team being bad, and then went on to coach a team that was just bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He made some comments to make. You know, he could have left those in his pocket, but he said what he said. He kind of talked. He talks. So,
I didn't like it.
All right, Brandon. I know you've been dying for this. Let's talk about your New York Jets. You're not too happy at the first round from like your text messages. So tell me about the New York Jets.
I got to hear this.
You said you have a lot to say, so I want to hear what you got to say, brother.
Yeah, now that we've had some time for it to settle. Essentially, I'm thinking about what all the Jets did to revamp this offensive line before the draft, which was extremely needed. It's been needed since 2017, maybe even before that. But yeah, so the Jets kind of like what the Falcons did. The Falcons invested in KIrk Cousins. Well, the Jets invested in Tyron Smith at left tackle with a 1-year, $20 million contract. And then they invested in moving back 20 spots, trading a 6th-rounder, and trading for Morgan Moses from the Ravens. So, we got a couple of 33-year-old tackles to start the season. And then the Jets go on to draft Ashwanu with pick 11 in the trade back. I was for sure thinking we're going to get Brock Bowers, but at the same time, I'm not that surprised because our GM Joe Douglas loves to go with offensive linemen. And it kind of scares me when he picks them because you got Mekhi Becton, who we didn't even really give a 5th-year option to. And then you give Elijah Vera Tucker. He's been hurt every year, very talented, but keeps getting hurt. So when I'm more aggravated because the entire plan from the beginning was to draft with the offensive line. So why are we investing our assets in 2 aging tackles? Are we planning to start 6 tackles this season? I mean, are tackles kind of like quarterbacks? You sit them for a year and then they're good. The Jets got a good player. I'm happy with the player, but I'm not happy that we have to go out and we have one less playmaker. If Brock Bowers goes out and plays to the potential, which potential is just something that hasn't happened yet. But if he goes out and plays as good as people believe that, as good as he looks in college, he plays like that in the pros, and that's a player we missed out on that we have. And that's just all to protect a quarterback that's turning 40 years old. And we've already made the moves to protect him. So it just, to me, the whole pick was just building a house of mirrors, because he's still got fears of last season when Broderick Jones got picked before us because Pats and Steelers traded. So Steelers took the tackle we were going to take. And that left us with Will McDonald, who's just filling in this defensive end rotation, who's a pick that's not looking too good right now. So now we pick an offensive lineman just because it's like, oh, well, we got a couple of old ones. We could go offensive tackle. We could go receiver here. If there was a receiver, we could go tight end with Brock Bowers. But no, we went with the safe pick with the offensive line who's going to sit, because you signed an offensive lineman, or you traded for an offensive lineman who it looks like you're expecting to get hurt or not even play for you next year. So you're going all in, but you're not really going all in.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, like, in this entire draft, they did not address the need at linebacker, the desperate need at linebacker. And yes, CJ Mosley, he can hit the gaps and play good run defense, but if he has to cover anybody, you just see him just jogging because he can't keep up. He's too slow. He can't cover anybody in man or zone. You need a new linebacker. And if you really want to take Fashanu, we don't need Tyron Smith. You can save $17 million and cut CJ Mosley and not sign Tyron Smith and give Patrick Queen a huge contract to come and play for you, because we need that linebacker. They've done nothing to address linebacker this offseason. They were going to draft a tackle all along. I would rather not have traded for Morgan Moses, move Fashanu to the right. When Smith's gone, move him back to the left. Get your other tackle next season.
I like that pick though, Fashanu. I like that guy. I think that he's a good. If I remember correctly, I was, because I kind of, when you guys took them, I was like, oh, I kind of wanted him, but I was
on the Cowboys thinking, to get him. So
yeah.
Well, we're not going to see him play this year. He's not going to play.
Isn't he? Wasn't he? I feel like, is he the one? Okay, I could be wrong. He was a right tackle for a left-handed quarterback, or a left tackle for a right-handed quarterback, or something. Am I thinking of the same guy?
That. Only I know is he played for UW and he was really good.
No, that's the one the Steelers took. Fashanu.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that was Fashanu. Yeah. He played right tackle for Penix. Fashanu, he was the Penn State left tackle. He's only allowed, I think, 1 sack in college, if that. I mean, he's really good, but he's not going to play.
He's fast too. Yeah.
So was Mekhi Becton.
You got your linemen.
The Cowboys got guys.
Linemen are always good draft picks.
Not for the Jets.
Well, you weren't lying about what you got to say about the Jets, Brandon. You sound worse than I do about the Cowboys, but
y'all have more to be upset about, though.
I'll give this to Monty and Dwayne since they're Cowboys fans too. But I was okay with the first 2 or 3 choices. We had to address our offensive lineman issues or defensive lineman issues. So the first 2 or 3 picks I was okay with. I think we're, just my opinion, and Dwayne and Monty might disagree, and the rest of you guys. But when we traded up for that second, third round pick and not have a 4th round pick, I couldn't believe they didn't take a running back. That's when I lost my crap. I was like, how are we not take a running back in our second, third round pick? Because they were all right there. They're all right there. Then I think the Cowboys didn't. My opinion is the Cowboys did not expect them to all be taken in the 4th round. They went like wildfire in the 4th round. Like 5 or 6 guys got chosen in a row. It all started with Tennessee running back getting chosen at pick like 120. Then it just they went from like 120 to 130. They all freaking went. I know we got Zeke Elliott back, but he's not the same guy. I love him. He's been a great Cowboy, but he's not in his prime anymore. TP is gone. We did sign some guy off of waivers. I don't know who it is. I just read about him yesterday. I meant to write it down, but he's a rookie from, I can't remember what, he played D1 ball, but he's we don't know how he's going to be. So I think he came out of Missouri, but I don't know. I'll pass it to Monty and Dwayne, but I don't think first couple choices, yes, I was okay with. After that, they just seemed to tank. And then the rest of the rounds kept on going. They still didn't pick a running back. They just kept on picking other things like a receiver, another defensive back. I don't know, man. I'm like, dude, the running back issues kind of have my blood boiling. I'm like, I'm done with them. So, Monty, what do you got?
Well, Dwayne, you're in the Dallas area. Maybe you heard the same thing I heard. Dallas tried to trade up to get Jonathan Brooks. I don't know if you heard that, and they didn't. He was taken before that, so
Yeah,
I think that they were going to go Jonathan Brooks or nobody. I mean, they have a lot of holes on offensive line. I think all these guys that they drafted are going to play, all of them, or at least
I
have a chance.
agree. I think they'll start. Yeah, if they're healthy. Yeah, they got big problems. Yeah.
They
ain't got no choice.
And yeah.
They ain't got no choice. They ain't got nobody else to play.
So I think their only shot, well, the only one they wanted was Jonathan Brooks. I think that's why they didn't draft a running back. Maybe whatever reason.
Why would you only want one though? I agree Jonathan Brooks is the best choice, but why would you only want like just him only? Like
I don't know. That's just my opinion, but that's what it looks like because they passed up on so many more. Maybe I don't know if you heard what I heard.
Well, several were gone already by the time they got to the 5th round.
All I know is that Brooks was high on their priority list, but
he was.
He was high on their priority list, but he just didn't fall. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like, I swear, man. It's like, I don't even know how to put this. It's like Philly was all up in our heads, that draft.
Absolutely.
It felt like for every move we thought of, Philly either was trying to move up or gave that draft pick to somebody who was ahead of us.
Yeah.
And they
do that every year.
Philly
drafts well. I said that in our group text. You weren't on this group text.
They had a great draft.
Yes.
But like Monty said, I think all these guys are going to play. I liked how Cowboys revamped their offensive line.
That's what I like a lot. Absolutely.
You know, so I think with Guyton and Tyler, I think they're set. And I think they'll do some big things. Cooper Beebe was a huge surprise. I didn't think he was going to be there, but when I saw him pick him up, I was like, wow,
that was good.
That was a shock. I didn't know anything about Marshawn Nealon. But I heard he struck rave reviews, like he could have been a late first rounder, things like that. So I mean, on the defensive end to help out Lawrence and Parsons, they said he has long arms, very quick off the ball, so that can kind of add another dimension to that defense, give some play. As far as Lufau. Marist from Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was a linebacker choice.
My other team. I think more of it's a wait and see with him. You know what I'm saying? But they say he brings that high energy, which Cowboys need on that linebacker. Go get it type dude. It's going to be kind of fun to see how Overshown and him do well, partner up in the linebacker role. So I think they had a decent draft in terms of meeting points of need.
They did in that
was it a sexy draft? No, it was not. But did they meet points of need? Yeah. I think they did with the offensive line. Running back, I mean, listen, I'm just as upset as the next man of them not picking up a running back. But then again, these days and these years in the NFL, running backs come a dime a dozen.
You're right. They're not the same as they were. You're right about that.
And so, I mean, there's going to be a lot of them out there. A lot may come open right after training camp. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, So I guess that's what they're banking on to probably add extra support for now. Zeke back. So we'll in the words of Mickey Spagnola, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I like Zeke. Go ahead, Monty. Go ahead.
And Dallas has always had a good tradition of drafting good offensive linemen successfully. So I'm not worried about that. I mean, I think these guys will do well starting.
I really thought Dallas was going to take Blake Corum.
That's what I thought. That's what I wanted them to take.
I really thought they were going to take him.
Everybody was pushing for it. He was there.
He was there.
You got to have those linemen for those a good running game starts with good linemen. So that's what they're thinking. True. They're going to invest in the upfront people. But but I was surprised to hear Zeke was coming back at all. I was like, is this so he can retire a Cowboy?
Oh, I'm sure that's part of it.
That's part of it. That's part of it. Well, one thing I say about Zeke, even though he's not in his prime anymore the last couple of years, he did do good with TP. Him and Tony Pollard were kind of a good 1-2 punch. Pollard was the speed guy, and Zeke, got the tough yards for the first downs and he had a nose for the end zone.
He gets those extra yards.
He gets those extra yards or two. He's the inside the tackles kind of runner, and Pollard likes to go outside the tackles with the speed. So I was okay with Pollard and Zeke together, and we could tell last year how much we missed Zeke when he was gone. They only had Pollard. Like, our running game struggled. So I'm okay with Zeke coming back, but we needed that young guy. We needed a young guy to kind of be the number one guy, and Zeke just kind of shows him the ropes. Shows him how to be a good NFL player, how to be a good teammate, how to be in the study room, how to watch game film, just be a pro. So I'm okay with Zeke coming back for that reason, because I think he's a good mentor. I think he's a good guy. I like Zeke coming back teammate wise. Because he was really good at TP. When him and TP split the time, he did not get upset at all. He was all about it, actually. Those last couple of years, he did not throw an ego at all about that. So I've always liked Zeke for that. But yeah, I thought the Cowboys would take someone in the third round. Blake Corum was there. I think Jonathan Brooks was the first guy to go. I forgot all about the Florida State running back. He went second, Benson, and then Blake Corum went third. And then, like I said, that was the 3 running backs, and I think in the third round. But then all of a sudden, that fourth round, once that Tennessee running back went, Jalen Wright, it was like wildfire. Like 4 or 5 of them went in a row. And I think Cowboys were like, oh, like I said, I think the Cowboys were just kind of thrown off, like, oh crap, we thought someone would be left out of these 4 or 5 guys, and they're all going.
They weren't.
Yeah, Jalen Wright went, then that Kentucky running back went, then then the Clemson running back went to the Eagles. I can't remember his name, but he's a pretty good player. The Clemson running back, can't think of his name. I got it on top of my head, but anyways, they all left and within 10 picks, they're all gone. I'm like, wow. But let's talk about this. Michigan led the draft with 13 players being drafted. I think number 2 was Alabama with 11. But Michigan beat Alabama's record of a couple years ago when they had 11, I think in 2018 or something like that, or 12 in 2018. So Michigan set another record with the most players drafted in the draft. Kind of surprising in a way. I mean, obviously they won the national championship, but they weren't sexy picks. But they were, a lot of them got drafted in the middle of the draft. 3rd, 4th round. So let's ask this. I know there's one thing me and Brandon want to talk about, so I'll start with you, Brandon. Who do you think? Besides the New York Jets, who do you think laid an egg in the draft? I know you're not happy about the Jets. Who do you think is like, what in the hell are these guys doing? Like, who do you think, Brandon?
Well, all right. I don't think the Jets laid an egg.
Okay.
I prefer
I choose my words better.
I prefer Brock Bowers. I like the
like Clint says, words matter. Words matter. So.
Malachi Corley, Braylon Allen, they were good picks for the Jets. Head scratcher with not addressing linebacker and the second running back Isaiah Davis taken. But the biggest for me, the Browns, they didn't really have any sexy picks. They didn't really even have picks. Just still from the Deshaun Watson, they made a lot of trades and kind of played free agency a little bit more. I didn't really like any of their picks, nothing special. I don't like the Vikings trading up for McCarthy, but at the same time, I like how they ended up getting Dallas Turner. I thought that was a great move for them trading for him.
Yeah,
that was really
choice.
Smart. I gotta another. I gotta go with the Browns. They just didn't really. I didn't really like any of their picks. Nothing really stood out to me for them.
What do you guys? You guys got any comments on who you guys think kind of had a not so good like a draft that was kind of like head scratchers?
Not really. I do have I'll go the opposite. Some teams that I did like their draft.
That was my next question anyway, so let's do it.
I like what the Raiders did.
Oh yeah, they did.
Taking that tight end. I was hoping Dallas would get Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, that center. I mean, but yeah, I think the Raiders had one of the best drafts. Also, Arizona had a good draft as well.
Yeah, they had like 20 picks.
Arizona did really well.
crazy.
Yeah. So who did the worst? I really don't know, but there are some teams I didn't like their picks.
Yeah, I was impressed with Arizona. Obviously, Chicago with Odunze and Caleb Williams. I like that. The thing that was weird was the Buffalo Bills. I think they had a 7th pick in the draft. They picked some foreign player, like from the Canadian Football League. Some guy's never played well. That was the craziest thing I've seen. Can't remember his name, but they have the number 7 pick, and they're picking some dude from Canada. I'm like, whoa, this guy's never played.
JC Latham. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on. That's the Titans.
First round?
I could have sworn it was the first round because a lot of people were talking about it. I was reading up on like Buffalo. They did something crazy, like some foreign player. He might be good, but no one really knows much about him. And that was like their first
I remember that's one of the picks that I actually watched live. So I do remember something about that. But
I mean, Buffalo's basically in Canada, so he's playing right in their backyard.
He's right there. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't see it in the first round. I just have the first round printed up.
Couple of teams I really liked. I really love what the Rams did with their first 4 picks.
Yeah, they got freaking my guy too.
You got Jared Verse, and then you pick up Fisk, the DT he played alongside. If you can't replace, well, no one can replace Aaron Donald as an individual, so they're doing it as a unit. And then they go on and take Blake Corum, I think he's going to be a good compliment for Kyren Williams.
Yeah, Blake Corum's a great choice.
Yeah, Cameron Kitchens, safety from the U. That's a good pickup too. So I like what they did in Pittsburgh. I really like Pittsburgh's draft.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, Rams did their thing, that's for sure. Oh, let's talk about this. Me and Monty were doing the show live during the NFL draft last week. Chargers had their choice for the 5th pick, and they didn't get the receivers. I mean, they did pick up a lineman, but me and Monty thought that was interesting because they needed receivers big time. I mean, they lost, Mike Williams and their number 1 guy, tip of my tongue, Keenan Allen, and dude, that guy has like 9 or 10 catches a game. I mean, their offensive production, and they pick a lineman. Not saying it's not a good choice. They picked Joe Alt, right? I believe they picked Joe Alt, and I'm like, great choice. I mean, he is the number 1 lineman in the draft. But I'm like, I thought for sure they're gonna get like Odunze or the guy on LSU.
I did too.
Neighbors, I was like, I couldn't believe they didn't pick Neighbors or Odunze. That surprised the crap out of me. So, but Chargers got rid of their head coach. I mean, obviously they got the Michigan guy, so they got Harbaugh. So, oh man. I don't know Harbaugh, but he's had success everywhere he's been. I give him that, but I don't know. I don't understand that pick, man. So I don't understand it.
I love the pick.
You do?
Yeah. They got Rashawn Slater, and then you got Joe Alt. You got a couple of big statues out there, man.
Well, they'll be protecting their quarterback. Obviously, they got their quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's been good for the past 3 or 4 years. The old Oregon quarterback, he's legit. He needs receivers around him. So
I love that guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I've been a big fan of his.
Justin Herbert.
He's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
good. I like him.
Their problem is they had that head coach Staley that did all kinds of weird crap. So he could have got him in the playoffs a couple years ago. All he had to do was keep it tied, and he tried doing something stupid, and they lost the game. I was like, "What's wrong with this guy? Just leave it tied," and that bit them in the butt.
He loved to lose
games. Robin, I'll go to you before we close. You're a Seahawks fan, so how do you think? I know you're making some comments on our group chat. So you think the Seahawks had a good draft since you got your Seahawks gear on?
Yeah, I do. I haven't dove into it like I probably should have. But I feel like watching the first round pick with Byron Murphy.
Yeah, he's a beast out of Texas, yeah.
He is the one complaint. Like I am, I feel like when I watch the Seahawks draft, they always stress me out because I always wait till the very last minute. And so it's like, okay, well, Pete Carroll's not here. Obviously, that's a John Snyder move. It's still the same, but I liked that. I liked the pick because like he looks, and it's not necessarily predictable, but like thinking through it, our new coach, we don't really know much about him because he hasn't been a head coach, and he's young, but he's a defensive guy. So looking at that, I feel like he's a lot similar. He's like an Aaron Donald sort of a player. So that smash mouth, like he's not very big as a defensive. What position is he? And anyways, he's not very tall, but he's very, like, I feel like it's good. Like I am good with the pick. And then I don't remember exactly off the top of my head the next pick, but I was good with that too. I think that they did good. I think that they're, I'm still kind of like, we don't really know what our identity is because we have a new coach.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, we have our players that are, most of them are returning, but I just feel like that we are like, our team is getting up there. We've got a lot of veteran players that I'm like, have we seen Tyler Lockett take his last snap? Is he really, like, where are they all going to be? And so I feel like that I'm just like, I don't know what we're going to see out there. I think it's good. I think it's set up to be good, but I was like still hoping to get one of the Penix or Bo Nix or
I was
one
gonna
of
ask you
those
that. What do you
players.
think about your quarterback? He did get comeback player of the year before. Last year he didn't quite do so well. I mean, he did okay, but
Are we talking about Geno Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Smith.
like, I like him. I
was
like him.
Are we still with Geno Smith? I actually liked him. He made one of my favorite quotes of ever when he said something about like, they wrote me off, but I haven't wrote back yet or something like that.
Yeah, that was a great quote.
That was cool.
That was a great quote.
That's one of my favorite all-time quotes, I think, forever, because it said something. But I remember when Geno Smith was picked to the Jets forever ago, and I was not super excited when he started at the Seahawks, because I'm like, oh, what are we getting ourselves into? But he's matured, he's gotten, but at the same time, like he's in the same category as like he's older, and I'm a little bit nervous, and I don't know, like he did well 2 years ago. Last year I think he did okay, but I think that there's potential there for him to be a good player. I do think that we need to start looking at what the future is going to be and start working for something, like I would have liked, I don't know, maybe we did draft a quarterback in the later rounds, but I don't think so. I know I'm really interested to see what some of our free agent pickups are over this next couple years or couple months, because I know the Seahawks they like to look deep in the draft. They like to get their money players. Most of our money players over the years have been third, fourth, undrafted free agent players. Right. So I mean, we'll see. That's what I'm like, whose brainchild was that? Was that Pete Carroll or was it John Snyder? Because they've always worked so closely together. So I'm kind of just interested in watching and seeing what happens in that. But I think that I'm excited that we still have our core guys coming back, but I also know that their lifespan is at the end. So we've got to figure out what the future of the Seahawks is going to be. But I think it's good that we kept some of those veteran players, because being that they replaced the coach, I think the coach being there with some veteran players that have some background and they've played together, they have the chemistry. So they can help that guy. And then if we get some new players in, they can train up the new guys. I don't want to restart everything right away.
Always need some veterans on the team. That's what the main thing is, to train the young guys.
Overall, I think they did good.
I agree too. When Geno Smith, he backed up Russell Wilson for a long time. Russell Wilson never got hurt. He was like the backup for 3 or 4 years, didn't hardly play a game because Russell Wilson was always in the game. But then he got his 2 years ago when he went to Denver. got comeback player of the year. I thought was well deserved. Last year,
I agree.
I won't say he didn't do bad, but he didn't do as. I think there was high expectations on him last year, and I don't think they did.
Yeah.
I don't think they did quite as well as they thought they would. But I'm not against him. I think this next year, this third year of him starting would kind of determine a lot, like his future in Seattle, or maybe getting traded to go somewhere else as a veteran quarterback to finish off his career. But I like Geno Smith. I'm interested to see what he'll do. Yeah, really good first year, second year so. With the expectations were like a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to see what he'll do this year. Not a Seahawks fan at all, but I'm kind of pulling for Geno Smith because, he was very immature. We went to the New York Jets, got in a fight with one of his teammates, had a black eye. That was well documented. He seemed like he matured, so he's kind of like the way Michael Vick came back when he was in jail for a while. Yeah, I like the way Michael Vick came back. I was always a Michael Vick fan. I like that he kind of turned his life around. So I'm always the kind of guy that like to see someone come back and kind of, get themselves together and kind of learn from their mistakes kind of deal. We're all human at the end of the day. So, Yeah. So, you guys got anything in closing? Is there anything else we forgot, brothers and sisters? Is there anything else to talk about on this draft, or we think we hit all the wickets?
No, we're good.
I think we hit it.
I think we good, because if we continue to talk any more about this draft, I'm going to start getting more upset about this.
I think all I have to say is I'm proud of myself for not making a Jerry Jones or an Al Smith joke, because I always blame all of those teams' problems on those people.
Yes, you saw. I know Monty saw my group text. I was like, I'll get my retired senior-chief paycheck if someone takes care of Jerry Jones for me. So yeah.
Well, we going all in, baby. We going. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I told like Dave and all the other guys on the group text. I was like, Jerry Jones should just enjoy his billions. Go drink pina coladas on the beach somewhere. I was like, dude, just go away. Jerry, just go away, bro. Like, you're 80.
I just think,
like, dude, like.
I have a friend who is a Raiders fan, and we used to talk about the Raiders guy, whatever,
Al Davis.
Al Davis. I said Smith a second ago. Al Davis. I was like, you know what? Like, it was the year. I mean, Al Davis has had some pretty epically bad drafts.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you guys are you're not like, he's like, there's always next year. And I'm like, no, there's not until Al Davis dies. And then now it's Mark Davis. So it's Al Davis Jr. So I think that, but I feel like Jerry Jones is he's getting to that same status. Like, Jerry Jones needs to go sip on Mai Tais and hire his people to do this work.
I said he was drink Mai Tais. I didn't say pina coladas. I said Mai Tais. Thank you, Robin. That's what my text said. Drink some Mai Tais on the beach somewhere. Go to Hawaii.
Yeah. You're talking to a Southern oak. He is not.
I know he's not going anywhere. I can wish it though.
He's pretty well rooted.
Yeah,
he's very well rooted, man. He's got a lot of money. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He can listen to me. Me, a middle class guy. He's like, Ken, get the hell out of here, man. You're not even in my pay zone, man. But anyways, we'll close. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Leave your comments. Let us know how you think your teams did NFL draft. Whatever your teams are, let us know how you think they did. Did they get an A? Did they get an F? Did they get a C? How well they did. Like, what you thought about the draft overall. I thought Detroit did great. A lot of hype in Detroit right now with the season they had last year. They set records. So, yeah, I think Campbell's still a meathead, but they have a great. He should have punted on fourth down or kicked the field goal, but that was in the playoffs. So, anyways, Detroit's got a lot of potential. For sure. They got a lot of potential, and they had a pretty good draft as well. So
I wanted them to do so much better.
They did okay. They didn't do bad. I mean, they're building, man. So, but we'll close out. So thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. See you next week.
Thank you.